everyone. Welcome to this episode of Unraveling the Veil with your host, Yara Rose, also known as Katie Mosier from the yararose.com website. That is YARAROSE.com. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my podcast. I am so excited to be back here speaking with you today. I'm going to try a couple new things today. The day is finally beautiful here in Minnesota. It's been a heat wave full of like super humid air. And today finally feels amazing. No humidity. The sky is beautiful blue with puffy clouds, and the wind is singing. So my wind chimes are talking. But I have all the windows open because I just feel like we all need some fresh air after that. And it's kind of symbolic as well because I drew the wind card today, which is awesome. So I'm just going to go ahead and read that card for you right now so you keep it in mind as we talk about the subject I want to share with you today. Spirit gave me the wind card, which is about freedom and change. And the card says, "The wind brings a breeze of change. Let go of past limitations and embrace the fresh air of new possibilities. Allow yourself to move freely with the wind, accepting life's changes and exploring new opportunities." So, by leaving the windows open and embracing the traffic noise that goes by and the wind chimes, I'm hoping that just sends that extra bit of fresh air, that extra bit of openness and willingness to change directions and adaptations to you. I know it will. Spirit said it will. So we're going to give it a shot. I apologize if any of the other extra noise irritates you. So I had an amazing trip with my husband last weekend. We went over to Wisconsin again and went for some motorcycle rides. If you've never listened to me before, you know that that's one of the things that we love to do every summer is just go ride along the river. Usually we're riding around the Mississippi, but this time we went to lake country and we were riding around the various lakes over there and just seeing new territory. And it was so fun and interesting. And I just had this desire today to share with you some of the experiences that I had because they were very insightful, and I just felt like Spirit wanted me to share them with you. So here are lessons from the back of a bike. And I'm going to add it right now that I do not drive motorcycles. I have no intention of getting my motorcycle license because my favorite part about being on the back of a bike is not having to worry about the traffic and being able to just have my head on a swivel going back and forth, checking out all the scenery and feeling the energy of that area. It is so interesting to me how the different areas that you're driving through, how you can feel what the energy is like there. And it's just awesome. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do, just to decompress and experience a new area. So the first one I want to start with is this really interesting concept of, like I said, we usually go along the Mississippi River. And I typically can only go for like an hour and a half, 2 hour ride at most because I just get sore and I want to get moving and do something else for a while. But we can go these huge distances when we're doing that along the river because the speed limits are higher and the traffic is just moving and you can just move. You can get these great distances. But one of the first things we realized when we went over to Lake Country was when we were mapping out the trips, it was like, the miles were so much less than that we would have had along the river. And it was interesting because we were like, that can't be. That time frame should get you a lot further than that. But that's what the map was saying. It was going to take us this long. So that's what we did. We planned our routes based on what it was saying. And we quickly found out that it was right and we were wrong. And it was simply because there were so many small towns all throughout all of the routes where you had to slow down for an extended period of time before, during, and after the town. And it just took so much longer. And it was one of those things where I went out for this first ride and I'm used to going at a pretty good pace and keeping up and seeing a whole bunch of area. And it was like, wow, I don't know that I necessarily like riding over here. This seems so much slower. And it's just a slower pace. And I don't know that I necessarily like it. So I started talking to Spirit about it while I'm on the back of the bike. And they're like, is it really, Katie, that you don't like this pace? Or is it that you're not used to this pace? Because even at your home, you are so used to a fast paced environment. You're used to knocking out your workday as quick and as efficiently as possible, and then taking care of the dogs and the kids, and then food and the house, and then doing your side business. And it keeps you busy, it keeps you hopping. And that energy is similar to the energy that you experience when you go to the river, because the energy along the river is hopping, it's industrious, it's always on the go. So that is what you're used to. So we challenge you in this moment to truly ask yourself, is it that you don't like the slower paced movement? Is it that you don't like the slower paced environment? Or is it simply uncomfortable to you on a level because you're not used to it, because it's different, because it's the balance that you need? And that was really profound, because at first I was very resistant and I was like, no, it has nothing to do with that. But the more I thought about it, honestly reflected on it, the more I was like, yeah, I could see how it's not that I don't like this, but it is something I'm not used to. And the moment, you all, this is why I love spirit. This is why I love being open to spirit. But the moment I came to that conclusion of it's not the area that I don't like, it's just me needing to take a step back from how I've been living my life, how I've been leading it, the pace that I've been at, and see where I've been lacking in my balance, and then try to open up and allow that balance in. And the moment I said, yep, I agree, a turtle was crossing the road, and we came upon it, and it was just slowly making its way, and it wasn't a big deal. We just went around it, but it made me laugh. I laughed outright hard and for a while, because I was like, okay, yep, first lesson from from the back of the bike is sometimes you may try to tell yourself that something isn't for you, but this is actually an opportunity to question whether it's truly not right for you, or whether it's something that you have been out of balance on. So maybe it more just feels unfamiliar to you compared to the normal everyday grind that you've been living. So when my ego was saying, this isn't what I prefer, because it's not what I'm used to, but that's not true. I actually do prefer to have slow days. I do dream about waking up and being able to sit on the deck of the lake house and just enjoy the morning, sipping my hot chocolate, listening to the birds sing, and not have a care in the world. This was a manifestation of that, the slower pace. And I had to be open and willing to accept that, and to recognize it when it was right in front of me, because my ego was trying to tell me that this wasn't right for me. And it was simply that my ego was unfamiliar with it. So it was scary. It was challenging to my ego, because it's not what we're used to. And what we're used to is what it feels is safe. Spirit reminded me that it's about balance, and we all need both, the fast and the slow. It was a beautiful moment. I wish I could convey how amazing that felt to come to that conclusion and see that validation right there at that moment. Oh my gosh. I love, 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 love being with spirit. And actually, I want to take this moment to read off another card that spirit gave me about, well, I'll say it this way. I told Spirit that I was going to share this message about lessons from the back of a bike. And then I asked if we could draw some cards that could support their message that they want to emphasize today. And the cards that they gave me were wind, mountain, fear, and bear, as well as support. I've already read you the wind one, because I felt like that was so poignant and basically the theme of everything. And as I'm talking about how my ego was too scared to recognize that the very thing I was craving, the slower paced balance that I had been wanting, was right here in front of me, I want to read you the fear card. It's about confrontation and overcoming. And it says, fear is an obstacle on the path of growth. Face your fears head on. Don't shy away. Acknowledge their presence and move beyond them. Each time you overcome fear, you make a breakthrough in your personal growth. And on the back of that bike, when I saw that turtle, I made a personal growth breakthrough. I felt it right there. My fear was trying to tell me, go back, get out of here. This place is scary. This is something new. And I did the internal work. I faced and dug deeper into what was really happening. And it was a beautiful moment. It unfolded so naturally, effortlessly. It was just beautiful. I loved it. And when I look at the fear card and I think about it in relation to this topic, I want to ask you this question. Oftentimes, when we are on our journeys to a specific destination, we get very focused on the destination. And sometimes things happen. And actually, this is going to come up. Now that I'm speaking, this is going to come up as some of the other lessons too. But sometimes things happen that delay us from achieving that thing. And we don't necessarily want to take our focus off of the destination to address whatever it is that popped up. But the thing is, it's popping up so that way you can address it, because once you address it, getting to the destination will be easier. So, how could taking your eyes off that prize and focusing instead on the moment that you're in and why is this coming up and how is this serving you? What is this trying to tell you? I know that we all have heard that life's a journey and that it's not about the destination. But it is truly something that we do all struggle with from time to time, where we get so focused and we're so close and we just want to get there that we forget that these little side things, these little things coming up saying, this isn't for me, that's actually internal work that needs to be addressed. And once it's addressed, you will get where you're going a lot easier. So, where in your life, right where you are now, where are you so focused that you're not willing to take a breather and actually look around you and see what's showing up? Because what's showing up is part of the journey. What's showing up is telling you something. It's valuable insights into where you are right now. And until you shift the energy that you have right now, it's going to be more difficult to continue down the road that you're going on. I think since I already read that one, I'm just going to go ahead and read the other two. The next one is Bear. It's about strength and courage. And it says, it's the moment to show courage and determination. Whatever challenges come your way, remain steady and confident like the bear. It's a time for important decisions. Take that brave step forward with your inner strength. And then the next one was the mountain, which is about challenge and achievement. Mountains encourage you to embrace challenges and climb to new heights. Don't shy away from the challenge. Show your determination. Take each step toward the summit, and you will achieve great success. I think if our destination is freedom and change, more freedom in your life, to have that life that you dream about requires change. And if our destination is to have that freedom, we are going to have to face fears that we have. We're going to have to climb mountains, and we're going to have to be courageous along the journey to achieving that. I'm going to leave that right there for now for you to think about. And I'm going to go back to my lessons from the back of a bike, because now that you have all the information, I think you'll be able to see how each card fits in with the messages that I was getting on the bike. So it was interesting going on all these awesome rides around the area. And this one particular subject I have divided into 3 categories, but it's all kind of along the same lines, which is that you can't prepare for everything that happens, that you can do your very best to prepare and be ready for the journey ahead and to make it as clean and effortless as possible. But things happen along the way, and being adaptable and able to shift and maneuver are important. That being said, I want to say that sometimes people mess up on the road. And I know all of you people that have road rage out there understand where I'm coming from when I say that sometimes people cut you off. Sometimes people get a little aggressive and need to pass you, only to then turn around and slam on their brakes so they can make the next turn, which eventually makes you have to slam on your brakes so you don't hit them. But what I found interesting on the back of the bike was that, y'all take turns doing it. Sometimes you're the person that's having that done to you, and sometimes you inadvertently do it to someone else. And knowing that it goes around and comes around, I would like to say that the lesson that I learned is to have grace and extend grace and be flexible because despite your best plans, sometimes you miss a turn, you don't see it, it comes out quicker than you think, and you have to adjust and you have to make changes. And sometimes, despite your best efforts, you end up on a detour. And that can be frustrating if you're on a timetable. Thankfully, we were not. But it was interesting because the time I can think of that I was on a detour, it was fine. Like we ended up being where we needed to be eventually. It just took a different road. It brought us into contact with a couple who waved at us. And who knows, maybe that smile and wave was important. Maybe that was the reason we took that detour. You never know why things happen the way they do. As long as you're not hyper focused on the goal, then that little slight detour isn't going to get you off the rails too much. And it may actually be better than the original route would have been. You may not have had that smile and wave. And maybe that was the reason you missed that road to begin with, was so that spirit could show you these amazing different ways in which we can be within the environment in a more relaxed and steady pace. And on that note, I wanted to say a shout out to this amazing lady who, when my husband went on a ride by himself, saw that he was stuck at a stoplight for way too long because the light wasn't recognizing his bike. So she got off of her deck, walked over to the stoplight to hit the pedestrian crossing light, and then walked back and sat back on her deck. And they waved and smiled at each other. And eventually his light turned green. It's just moments like that that are so awesome to see. It's just awesome to be a part of that and to see that there's good people out there that are willing to help you out when you need it. That's all I'm going to say on that. I just wanted to give her a shout out because I love seeing kindness along our journeys. It's awesome. It fills the heart up knowing that there's still good people out there. It reminds me of that song, Most People Are Good. I just love it. I just wanted to share that because I just like sharing when spirit shows you how people are trying to do their best and they're willing to help you out when you need it, when you're open to their help. And the last message that I had wrote when I got back from our bike was about how you can do your best again to plan the perfect route and avoid things that you may not want to experience. And this goes with any journey that you're trying to achieve. So, Saturday morning, there was a couple of rain clouds around the area. So, we specifically took the time to check the radar and just make sure that the route that we planned wasn't anywhere near any of those. So, if it was, I can't remember exactly how it went, but we'll say that the clouds were in the northwest quadrant, right? So then we would go southeast completely to avoid it. And I'm not saying that's how it was. I don't remember. But the way that we had navigated it, it looked like we should be perfectly fine, not hit any rain, and it was going to be good. So we went on our hour and a half trip. And as we're taking the way back to our cabin, it's getting darker and darker and darker. And I was like, oh no. Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. And I felt a couple sprinkles. And it's not the first time that I felt a couple sprinkles. I had felt it the day before, but Spirit told me they were love sprinkles. And just to think of them as just little love sprinkles from them, that they're just along the ride and they wanted to celebrate. And that was all it was the day before. We're just a couple love sprinkles. So as I felt the love sprinkles, I kind of smiled and I said, thanks, Spirit, for the love sprinkles. But what do you think about what's coming up? It's dark. And my grandpa kind of goes, you're going to be fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I lean over and I'm like, hey, babe, it's okay. Grandpa says it's going to be fine. And my husband's like, Katie, fine could mean a lot. We could go through a downpour and we could still be fine. That's not exactly reassuring. And I was like thinking of my grandpa, which if you've heard any of my other messages, he's the one that tells me, Katie, it's just water. You're not made of sugar. You're fine. You're going to be fine. So as my husband says how it's not reassuring, I kind of started going back in my head and I'm like, oh, yeah, it is my grandpa. He's not too concerned about me getting wet. But, I see him in my third eye and he's just smiling and he's like, "You're gonna be fine." And I was like, "Okay." So we did get rained on, but we've been rained on so much worse. It wasn't a big deal. Like we got wet for, I don't know, 10 minutes, but it wasn't like a downpour. It was just a steady rain. After we went through that, the sun was shining bright. It was warm. We were completely dry by the time we got back to the cabin. It was kind of a fun experience. I just kind of laughed and smiled and I was like, "Okay, Grandpa, mark another one for your win. Like, we were fine. I got it. I didn't melt. We're good." But it's just like we had planned the trip to avoid that. We didn't go in the direction we had wanted to because we didn't wanna have to get wet. We didn't wanna have to pull the bike over and get rain gear on, which we didn't, but it was just interesting because it's just another one of those lessons of, "Hey, be aware that you can do your best to make the best plans for what you're achieving, but sometimes these little things that you're trying to avoid, they're still gonna crop up, and you're still gonna have to know how to deal with them." And that was kind of his, like, tongue-in-cheek way. He kinda says to me, "You thought you were gonna get out of it, huh?" "You can't escape us," just joking. "You can't escape us. We can get you." It was just really fun to have that experience with him, and it was fun to be shown once again by spirit that even though things don't go according to plan, you're still okay. You're still all right. It's nothing to fear. Even if the worst thing happened, we got caught in the rain that we were avoiding, that we didn't want to, we were still fine. It was still a great trip. And actually, I think that encounter with my grandpa enhanced the trip because it just has another memory that we have together. And it's another lesson under my belt of, hey, things didn't go according to plan. We stayed flexible. We did the best we could. We got out the other side. Spirit had our back. It was all good. And I love those. Those are actually the experiences that I remember the most is when things don't go according to plan, is when I surrender and I let it go and I see what spirit brings forth because I know that everything is working out in the best way possible. And that if things don't go according to my plan, it's because there's a better plan out there. And I surrender to that because they've shown me time and time and time again that they know more than I do and that they know what I need more than I do. So, on that note, I want to end with their support message because I feel like this support message ties it all together. The themes underneath it say ask for help, get more rest, and nurture yourself. Feeling tired, burned out, and overwhelmed or overworked is a call to lighten your load and recharge your batteries. Your energy levels are low and it is proving counterproductive to getting things done or being there for others. You may feel you have to do everything yourself or don't know who to ask for help. A part of you could be addicted to the adrenaline rush of stress and hustle. You may even feel it is a sign of weakness to slow down or that you don't deserve to be nurtured. You have nothing to prove by working yourself too hard or sacrificing yourself by doing everything alone. This winged horse urges you to ask for help, to get more rest, and to be loving to your body. Schedule in non negotiable time for naps, set boundaries around your work hours, and make getting a good night's sleep a priority. Hire an assistant or other team members for your business. Spend the day at a spa, book in for a massage or other body treatment, or simply take a day off to do nothing. Ask your friends and family for help with your kids or invest in additional childcare or nanny. You are worthy of this support. The extra energy you will have as a result will be worth the time and money you spend to give it to yourself. And as usual, I feel like that is the best way to wrap up this episode because that is exactly what Spirit gave me was this amazing trip where I could just nurture myself, where I could just relax and enjoy the birds singing, see them start the morning. I could go on these beautiful rides and experience these friendly, happy people. And we saw several wildlife things along the route. We saw new fields, we saw tons of trees. It was just so relaxing. It's kind of like that Winnie the Pooh show you used to watch where they would cross this bridge and everything would just be more magical and different. And it felt like that. It was like we had this busy life pace style over here. We crossed over into this lake country and everything was just so different, but it was a balm to my overworked self. It felt so good. And I didn't even know that I needed that. So that's what I love about spirit is when you open up to the possibilities and their signs and their help, they help you in ways that you didn't even know you needed. And I just love them. So I hope that you have enjoyed the lessons from the back of the bike and also just from Spirit. And I hope that you can use these lessons through any journey that you have, because I know they're applicable to more than just riding around the countryside. I love you guys so much, and I hope that you get something out of this. I love you all, and I wish you the most love, light, and inspiration. With all of my love, Yara Rose.